Today is the National COVID-19 Day of Reflection, where we remember the hardships experienced by so many of us during the COVID-19 pandemic, and particularly those of us with loved ones whose lives were tragically cut short. It is also a chance to remember the incredible bravery, compassion, and sheer dedication that was shown by so many to help those around us who needed support during that time. There were many who stepped up, including many residents, and I'm here today with Jackie Baxter, who was part of the Council's COVID response team and was later commended for her efforts during this time on the New Year's Honours list. So Jackie, thank you very much for being here today. Could you give me a sense of the work that you and others did and carried out as part of the focus that Bromley had on tackling the pandemic?
Sure. My first job was to register the countless number of volunteers we received for the programme, and then next I went on to match them up with vulnerable people who were having to shield. Other colleagues did things like delivering PPE to schools, care homes and so on, and other people just took phone calls with residents asking where they could go for support and assistance. Some of my colleagues then later on, when the vaccine was released, went on to administer vaccinations after being given the appropriate training.
Could you tell us a bit more actually about the role of those local volunteers in the work that we were doing here in Bromley to help support people during the pandemic?
They mainly did things like shopping, collecting prescriptions, dog walking. Some people that didn't want to physically go out themselves volunteered just to make a friendly phone call to people that were having to isolate. And we had a few unusual requests, such as a gentleman that had broken his dentures, needed to be repaired, and somebody else needed batteries for their hearing aid. And I can remember on one occasion, late at night, somebody needed some legal papers delivered before midnight from one part of the borough to the other, and a cab driver kindly came forward and delivered them free of charge.
That's incredible. I mean, that does show the real variety that life still went on for everyone and so many people during the pandemic, and how people were really able to get involved, helping in those different practical ways. How challenging did you find it to get local volunteers on board? It
wasn't challenging at all. In fact, on the day, it was March the 18th, 2020, the day we launched the scheme, 1,600 people actually came forward that day, and this figure had doubled by the following day. And in fact, over the next year, we ended up with over 4,600 residents volunteering to help 1,500 vulnerable people.
That's amazing. It just shows really that community spirit that really took off during COVID, and how many people were willing to step forward and to support, other people, those in need, and their fellow neighbours. As a mayor and as a council focused on that community spirit, it's really heartening to look back at that. And could I ask as well, what kind of feedback did you get from the volunteers involved, and did that feedback lead to any long-term changes?
I can only think of positive feedback. In fact, I can't think of any negative feedback from the volunteers whatsoever. One good thing that came out of COVID is that certain people didn't even realise some of their neighbours were elderly, and they said that they'd continue to support them even after the pandemic. So as I say, that's one positive thing that's come out of it.
Absolutely, and learning a bit more about your neighbours, their lives, and being a bit more in touch as well with our local communities. Obviously it was a terrible time, but a lot of volunteering and community spirit came out of it, which can't be a bad thing. Thank you very much, Jackie, for those really fascinating insights. And I think they really show how we were able to come together in Bromley in the face of the enormous challenges posed by the pandemic. I know from my work as mayor that we have incredible engagement from our residents across the borough, including many who volunteer in a variety of different ways. And my thanks to all of you for this important work, including those of you who supported people during the pandemic. Thank you.